questions? Questions? Okay.
I just wanted to add a comment that all these emotions which are considered, or some of these are considered negative in the material world, how they have their original source in which they're engaged in pure love. Because there's many times people ask, well, why is there envy, or why is there this and that? And all those things can be used for serving Krishna, and they're beautiful when they're in that context. It's just when we come to the material world and use it in the material conception of life, then it's always miserable and nasty, not desirable.
That's why the material world is called a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. The same things, just like when Krishna told Radharani, I'm going to leave you, and then he disappeared. And then she fell on the ground. She's not suffering. She's experiencing ecstasy. Krishna created conditions where she was experiencing a bhava of separation. So, someone in love with Krishna is always experiencing ecstasy, even if they're in a so-called negative state. But nothing is negative when it's related to Krishna. That's why Krishna, even when he does mischief and steals butter and breaks the pots and does all kinds of things, steals the garments of the gopis and so on like that. It doesn't create a disturbance. The devotees are charmed, and it's beautiful. These pastimes are wonderful, and when you hear them, you become happy. That's the difference. If we hear about somebody else stealing in this material world, it's like, nasty. But in the spiritual world, Krishna's stealing makes him more dear to his devotees. So it's transcendental. It's not that in this material world that we can steal and say, oh, we're devotees, so it's okay. That's sahaja. But in the spiritual world, the devotees and Krishna engage in these pastimes, and there's no loss. Because everything is provided by Krishna in total abundance and opulence. And everyone has far more than they could ever need or want. And they're simply satisfied by their devotional service to Krishna. There's no shortages of anything. So-called stealing by Krishna is really a sign of his affection for his devotees. He wants to take their offerings, even if they're not offering. That's his mood, see. He wants to benedict his devotees, so he takes the offering instead of waiting for it to be offered. He just comes and gets it. It's his anyway. Everything is his. So if he wants to take it, hey, that's fine. Krishna. So, are there any more questions? No more questions? Oh, come on. Okay.
Is not about the gopis of Krishna. At the start, you mentioned that some people worship the demigods, even though it's mentioned that they have to do it for millions of years to get any benefit from it. So why do they do it when they know that they could, if they worship Vishnu?
But this is very interesting, and when you go to India, you will encounter this. Especially the Shivites. They worship Shiva, even though it's understood and very, very clear in the Vedas that Shiva is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. still they have a whole bunch of bogus scriptures that they have created that assert that Shiva is the supreme. And so then they worship Shiva on the basis of these scriptures. And they go on and on and on about it. And you know, once you meet one, it's like you've met them all, because they're pretty much all the same. So what it really comes down to, the bottom line, is that Shiva gives them material benefits. And they're lusty. They want material benefits. They want to smoke ganja. They want to have sex. They want to eat meat. They want to drink.
Do Shivites do that?
Yeah.
I know they smoke ganja, but the rest of it as well?
Yeah, they do all of that.
Oh, the rest.
They do whatever.
Smoke.
Their philosophy is that Lord Shiva taught that to transcend material life, you have to indulge in it completely.
Oh, that's just a flag wave and
Of
sort
course,
of enjoy here.
Of course, yes.
All you can eat at Joe's.
You know, it's just like these bogus New Age religions that say, you know, you can do anything you want, you know, or just believe in Jesus and you'll be saved. And you don't have to do anything. It's without faith, not works. Of course, you can't maintain faith without some kind of activity that supports it. And certainly without hearing, you can't maintain. So they're very limited in their this actual spiritual advancement. It really just serves as more or less of an excuse for them to go on with their material nonsense.
And that's why there's so many of them.
Yeah, just like there's so many Christians. I mean, when the Catholic Church put together the theology based on Paul's teachings, they knew what they were doing. They were offering a deal. It's like, you know, an offer that you can't refuse. Yeah, just believe in this guy, and you automatically get all the other benefits of all the other religions in the world. See, they knew that what their competition was offering. You know, like if you wanted to be a Jew, then you had to go through all these rituals and so many fasting days and so many laws and, you know, so many rules and stuff like that. Or for example, any of the mystery cults that the Romans inherited from the Greeks, kind of the same thing. You had to be invited, you had to go through like boot camp, and then you had to go through some test, the special initiations and the whole thing. But so they said, okay, we're going to undercut the competition here. Just believe in Jesus, and that's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to change your ways. You don't have to study anything. Just come to church, believe, then that's it.
Like a drive-through religion.
Practically. I mean, yeah, it was the first modern religion. Which means actually hypocritical religion. Because Jesus himself, of course, didn't live like that at all. If you're following Jesus, how could you live in a completely different way and expect to please him? So it's hypocrisy. It's just hypocrisy. So anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, demigod worship. So the demigod worship, especially in India, is like the same thing. It's so cursory, it's so perfunctory. I mean, you just like in Mumbai every year there's a big Ganesh festival. And again, the idea is you worship Ganesh and then you get all these material benefits. So what do? They get a clay statue of Ganesh, decorate it very nicely, worship it for 3 days, and then they throw it in the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Get rid of it, no problem.
Yeah. I mean, so what? It's like, the whole point is it's temporary, right? So it's just like, just like the meat eaters in Bengal who worship Kali. And they slaughter a goat in front of the goddess. And before they kill the goat, they whisper this mantra in the goat's ear that in this lifetime, I'm going to kill you. In the next lifetime, you can kill me. Yeah, it's a deal. Okay. That's not a very good deal, you know. It means you're going to come back as a goat, basically. So, duh. You know, they really don't believe in what they're doing. If they believed it, they wouldn't do it. But they are cynical. They're saying, I'll enjoy today, and then tomorrow I'll get out of this deal somehow or other. So they're rascals. See, we don't even bother preaching to people like that. Why even waste our time? Because they're insincere. So anyway, yeah, these kinds of people are there, but they're very insignificant because they have no real transcendental knowledge. Their knowledge is taken away by Krishna because they're not sincere, because they don't surrender.